Welcome back to Gaming Top Down. Today we're going to be taking a look at and unboxing Andromeda's Edge, this humongous box. This is my most anticipated game of 2024, so I was very excited when it showed up here just a few minutes ago. This is a spiritual successor to Dwellings of Eldervale, designed by Luke and Maximus Lori, with the art by Sergio Chavez, and is published by Cardboard Alchemy. I'm going to flip this over so that you can see the back before we open it up. It's kind of a humongous box, but this is a engine building combat game, kind of, where you are out in the galaxy, clashing with raiders, developing on planets, building your engine here next to your player board, putting out your ships, all in the goal of getting the most points, which is pretty common in board games nowadays. Cool artwork, tons of different factions. I think there are like 14 different factions in this box, maybe more. We'll look at them when we get to that point. We're also going to be taking a look at the bonuses, all of the extra stuff from the all-in pledge that I have here. So lots to open. Without any more ado, let's get this box open and see what everything inside looks like. Okay, taking the lid off here, there is a lot to look at. I guess first, and this is very much appreciated, let me slide the box out of the way. In the inlay of the lid is a guide for how to put the box back together. So that is very cool. Just kind of slides into that little kind of envelope looking thing there. Cool little touch. Appreciate that. All right, sliding this back here again. All right, we got rules of play and an appendix, escalation, expansion. Let's flip through those really quick. To do that, I'm going to slide the box out of the way just because it's so big. It would make it a little bit tricky for you to even see what I'm showing you here in the rulebook. All right. Wow. Lots and lots of pictures. We got all the components, of which there are many. Game setup, player setup, game overview and taking your turn, activating regions, raider strikes, returning to station, and activating your engine, how the different starships work, ship abilities, types of tactics cards, what the leaders do when you recruit them, modules, developments, development abilities, progress tracks. It's a pretty intensive rulebook, to be honest. The event track, how battle works, rolling dice and the outcome, damage to ships, repairing ships, an example of battle, and how the game ends. Some optional rules, destiny cards, 2v2 mode, and iconography there on the back, which is appreciated. All right, what was that? That was 27 pages of rules. Then we've got the appendix. I'll flip through these a little bit faster. Got edge cases, a note about each of the factions. And it looks like there are actually 18 factions, if I'm not mistaken here. We've got, we'll look at them when we get to the faction boards in a minute, but this is all of the factions with an explanation of their asymmetricness here in these little blurbs. Cool artwork. How the solo bots work. They're called the Unity Commanders. And it looks like there are at least 9 of them. How the raiders work. There's 5 different classes, it looks like. A, B, C, D, and S. how the events work. So this is just more detail around those edge cases and further explanations of every card, every raider, probably every detail you will ever need. Tactics, conflict cards, sustain and diplomacy cards, battle cards, conflict cards, and a general FAQ on the back with some notes to check out Board Game Geek if you have any other questions. So that's cool. And then here is the escalation booklet for that expansion, which adds some more raiders, some nebula moons, some more factions, some more ship types, it looks like, more event cards. Here's a list of all of those components. This adds, how will it take the player count up to 6? Oh, no, it doesn't. This is what takes the player count up to 5. That makes sense. Okay. So the base game must just go to 4. Okay, new regions. How the Nether Void and the Nether Dragon, actually called the Void Drake, it looks like. How the new Unity cards work, and just some more explanation there of those differences. All right, that was a lot of rulebook, but I'm glad that it is all in there, and it looks very well illustrated, and hopefully teaches the game really well too. All right, we got a bunch of little plastic envelopes here. These look like a player aid. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one looks like it explains differences in escalation. Unity ships. And these 5 all look identical, I believe. Yeah. And they are player aids for each player. How targeting works and tactics cards, developments, what you'll get points for at the end of the game. These are really big and nice, to be honest. Turn sequence, how battle takes place. Free actions listed there on the bottom. A little glossy and shiny with my light above, so hopefully you can see those, but those look very nice. Set them off to the side for a sec. Okay, this is the Unity board for the solo game. It's not noisy plastic, not especially large, but it feels pretty good quality. Not especially thick is what I meant to say. It's pretty thin, but feels about like the quality of the cards and player aids that we just looked at. So it shows you what to do on Unity's turn based on the die roll, where they will keep their ships and stuff. And it looks like there is a second side, maybe just so that you can play like off to the left if that is easier for your table, or if off to the right is easier for your table for them. Okay, then we have, I think these are maybe, that's a good question. I don't know if they're lids for the player trays, but they look like the standard player tray where you'll keep your ships, your resources, your faction tile here, and then you'll build your engine off to the right there. So those are them in 5 different colors: yellow, blue, green, purple, and white. And again, the backside looks the same, just with the engine on the left. Okay. Next up, we have a bunch of punch boards before we get into the big plastic and wooden pieces. Okay, and I think that these punch boards, which are pretty thick and nice, these are the nebula moons for the escalation expansion. And we'll be looking at some, I'm not sure if they're wooden or acrylic, I can't remember, but upgraded pieces for those. These are pretty thick cardboard, it feels like. They feel high quality. Okay, and then we have quite a few more. The different ships have their own little punch out. Looks like these are, oh, they're not stuck together. Each of the board spaces is what these tokens are, or tiles, I guess would be the right term there. Some more of those. Trade hub, monolith of ancients, Maximus field. I see what you did there, Maximus. Some of these don't have names on them. They just must be unexplored planets of some kind. Same thing here. And back to the front. All right, those were all of the cardboard punch outs. Now let's get into the ships. All right, again, I'm going to push this out of the way just so that you can see and I don't have to hold everything up quite so high. These are the lowest class ship, called the transports, I believe. And I need one of each color would be great here. Blue and white. And these do have a wash on them, which looks pretty good. Gives them a little bit of that grungy look a little bit. Like they've been used, been in outer space. Those look pretty cool. They are one of your lower level ships, and then some of the, or maybe all of the development buildings that you build right on top of them. And so you have to have one of these out before you can develop somewhere. Cool pieces. They feel nice and heavy. Okay. Then let's slide this back in frame just for a second. And I guess next up, let's look at some of these raiders. There's a lot of trays. Yeah, let's look at some of the raiders here next. All right, we got a tray here that holds them and a bunch of different bases that look cool, and these kind of risers that you could have one or even hook them together to make the raider stand up even taller. So they kind of nest into each other and then hook on the base on the bottom. And then a raider can sit right on top. For example, here's a this guy, the Chupa Vampra, maybe, if I remember correctly. So they just pop right on there, just like that. All right, so let's take a peek at each of these. I'm not going to remember all of their names, but that's okay. Hopefully you'll forgive me for that. But they do look cool. There's even a second layer over here. Yeah, quite a few of them. All right, so we had all of those standees here. We've got this big gravity orb, maybe? I can't remember the exact name. I like the gold, again, kind of dirty gold, like they've been in space, but were pristine at one point. I can't see where he would stand. Oh, there is a hole on the bottom for his stand. Very big and cool. Okay, how did you go in there? I should probably take note of that while I'm pulling them out. There we go. Okay, this is the Void Drake. He has that gold, but also some really cool, like translucent turquoise wings and belly. Very cool piece. And I did it again. I didn't pay attention to how it was in there. That's right. Okay, this one I'll pay attention. This is the hive, meant to kind of be like a beehive sort of enemy. I think it's the biggest mini in the game. And it has 3 little drone bees, and they, I think, clip kind of in there. Yeah, it doesn't like snap per se. Let me see, maybe it does. It doesn't snap, but they do kind of press in, and so they won't fall like if you tip it upside down. Very cool looking. I like that one a lot, and it's very big. Like my hands are, I have big hands. It's a big piece. Okay, see if we can figure this out. Probably like that. Nope, come on. Okay, you must have been the other way. Yep, you were. And then you on top. Okay, so we looked at those 3 big ones. Now we've got the Chupa-Vampra. I think we looked at him earlier. Weird looking dude, crazy teeth. Okay, there are 1, 2, looks like 4 of this model. Again, don't remember their exact name, but kind of look like a lower class, kind of normal ship. Very cool though. And I keep doing it. I'm just too excited to look at the pieces that I don't have time to pay attention to how they're in there. Okay, there's also 2 of these. Kind of look like those black battle droids from Star Wars a little bit. Kind of small. With, sharp protrusions or whatever you would call those. Okay. Oh, there's actually 4 of those. Yeah, 4 of those. Then there is this one here that kind of looks like a flying saucer. I think he abducts your leaders, which are these cool looking pieces that nest into your development buildings. Very cool. All right, and then second layer down here, we've got a few more. I don't remember the name of this one, but it is cool that it's different. It's kind of like this lightning Zapdos looking kind of entity, no face or anything, just a standing thing you would be afraid to see in space. Okay, then did it again. We'll figure him out later. Got this one. I don't even know. Looks like he would stand up kind of like this. Interesting. We'll see when we look at the cards, but unique shape for him. Okay. This is like a kraken, void kraken or something. Very cool arms everywhere. Creepy looking dude. And I told myself I was going to pay attention on that one. Yes, there we go. Okay, 3 more. This one kind of looks like a giant sea turtle. Or the ships in Halo that drop the warthog off if you got rid of that spike. It kind of looks like that from like the bottom. Okay, 2 more. We got this guy. He has like this clear top with a brain inside that you can see. And then this guy, who I think really looks really cool. I think it's like ice pirates or something. And I just like the 2-tone with the translucent blue up there. Very, very cool Raider pieces there. Okay, let's see if I can figure out this guy really quick, and then we'll be back on our way. Maybe I won't be able to. Yeah, he's an odd shape. Oh, there we go. Did I get it? I think that does it. Okay. All right, we'll put the lid back on there. And I think that does it for all of those raiders. Those are fun to look at. I know those are one of the highlights of the game for sure. All right, the next tray are the developments. They, ooh, this piece really clips on there. Let's see if I can unclip it. Whew. All right, that was tight. I am gonna have to work that or something a little bit to make it a little bit looser because that was a little crazy. But these are the development buildings. They sit here in this tray. And I think actually, does this like fold down? Ah, maybe that's why it's so intense. Okay, well, this is kind of cool. The buildings sit in here, and then these unclip as well. Hopefully a little easier. Yeah, one. They are tight. Jeez. Very tight. There we go. Yeah, this one. Well, I don't think that is supposed to unclip, actually. Now that I'm looking at it. That side doesn't look like it would. This side, maybe. I'm going to push those back in and pull out these. I feel like there's a spot that cards sit. Yeah, not sure how I feel about this tray, to be honest, but maybe you put the card in once or something, and then it just snaps back on, and it will have the name like just up in this upper portion so that you can tell what the names are from afar. That would be my guess. Well, let's see. But for now, I'm going to clip those back in, leave them clipped, and we'll come back to that. Okay, I wanted to see if I could find the leaders really quick, because they would be fun to show at the same time, I think. But where, oh, where, under the million trays, are they? Well, I don't want to get, we'll come back to the buildings now that we've got that tray open finally. All right, we got 5 player trays. They, looks like they also are double layered here. You will store all of your components inside, and then during the game you'll pull them out, clip this on top, I believe, and then this will be kind of your playing reference. You can remember, oh, I've got a max of 5 that I can have for these different types of resources, a max of 10 over here. Your, I think, leaders go over here, and this goes right on your player board. I think just kind of like where does it go? I feel like there was a spot that I wanted to show. I don't think it's there because your faction card is going to sit there. Maybe it's, maybe we'll see in a minute. I don't remember. There's a purple tray, a yellow tray, a white tray, a green tray, and a blue tray. Okay, and then there are 2 of these trays that will be used for various components, I'm assuming, like the moon tokens and various other tokens that you use in the game. Okay, let's move those aside for a second and lift up this next section. Okay, a couple trays on the side that are actually double stacked, it looks like. Let me see. Yeah, they are double stacked. So you've got trays like this, trays like this. I think these are the modules that will come down to these different rows. These ones, anybody's guess. I don't know. Maybe they go in front of the development buildings or something. But it is cool. They nest just inside there so that they will fit in the box. And then same thing over here. There's 2 identical ones on the other side. Okay, other than those trays, wow, this is taking up a lot of table. We've got this very big lid here. Oh, I guess before we get to that, we've got this, which will keep some more tokens, some in circle and square configurations. We've got a deck of cards that we'll get to in a few minutes. So that's a pretty cool tray there with a lid so that you know what to put in there. Okay. All right, set the cards to the side. We've got some more of these tokens for the different ships. We'll get to them in a minute, but it looks like they each faction has their own unique type of ship there. Okay, some of these tokens that will probably go in some of those empty trays we saw a minute ago. Let's lift this out momentarily. Get down here to the bottom of this seemingly never-ending box. There is a lot in here. I'm very surprised. All right, well, let's show some of these components and resources here. Again, I don't remember the names of everything, but here are those cool, kind of like, I don't know, science-y looking space iron for those. We've got some of these blue ones that I feel like I remember representing ice. They have a cool like white touch on the top to make them stand out. Then there are black ones or something. Space nuggets. I don't remember the terms. Those are cool looking as well. Very unique shape. Very dark obsidian black vibe. Okay. I can get those back in the bag, or I'll drop a couple. Find him in a minute. Okay, and then what I'm assuming are the currency kind of money in the game, these gold coins. Very cool looking gold coins. Very shiny. They're metal and heavy and feel very cool. All right, that was most of those. We are going to get back to the leaders in a minute once we get to the development board. We've got the main board and then just so much here underneath. Okay, these are the faction kind of cards. Get to them in a minute too. And I feel like I just want to take most of this out at this point and move the box out of the way so that we've just got more room. I'll set up the board so that you can see kind of the board while I'm showing you the rest of the pieces. We'll look at the cards. Maybe not all of them. There is a ton of them. We've got some extra ones here. A token here. Whoops. Lots of dice. Some little tiny markers. Some more cards. And I think this is called like the Watcher. And in the solo game, it will kind of follow you around. All right, I'm going to move this big box out of the way. See if I can open up this board and show you the rest of the components on top of the board. But before I do so, I just want to show the cool art on the sides of the box. Artwork is very pretty. Just super, super cool. Yeah, very, very awesome. Okay, so we already kind of mentioned this Watcher guy. He's in there as well. Okay, I got the board set out here. These spaces here are where the different kind of location tiles will go during the game. Up here at the top of the board are the 5 different tracks that you can go up and get bonuses. And then there are 4 different kinds of cards, and those trays that we looked at earlier will be showing the ones that are available in those slots. Again, very, very pretty and cool artwork on the board. So I'm going to leave it there while we look at some of the remaining components. I don't think we're going to look at every card, or this video will be 2 hours long, but I think you get the idea. There are blue module cards that would go up here, green, yellow, and where's the brown ones? Brown here. Then, yeah, let's take a look at some of the bigger cards, though, that are in the edge deck and some of these other pieces. All right, first up, let's pull this development board over here one more time, because I do think this is a very cool aspect of this game. I usually play green, so I'll show you an example here with the green player. So on one of my turns, I might put out this transport ship onto a location. Let's say I put it right here. And then during the game, I'm also, I think, gathering leaders. They are these cool tokens here in my color. And then you can deploy leaders to build different buildings. And the buildings in the game are these 5 that we looked at a little bit earlier. But there's this one, I think it's like an observatory of some kind. And each building requires a certain number of leaders, I think, in order to build. And they slot right inside of the building itself. Kind of gives it a cool vibe. And then the building, again, has to be built on top of one of my transport ships. And so it will sit on the table like this, which looks very cool. Everyone knows that it's mine. It's green up top and green on the bottom. Let's see what some of the other buildings look like when they are used. Again, this one, I'm not going to know all the building names, sorry. Looks like some sort of a war manufacturing plant, maybe. And again, you just got a couple leaders that slot in the top into those spots that look like, what would that be called, a plume, where smoke is probably coming out or something. Very cool looking. Okay, 3 more buildings to look at. Got this cool sciencey looking one. It only requires 1 leader, it looks like. And that leader actually goes in the other direction, circle side down, like so. Okay. Then that one was pretty tight. There we go, we got it out. We've got this funky looking one. It takes 2 liters as well. This sits on the bottom, and then 2 liters go in the sides. Kind of like, whew, that one is pretty tight there. Like this. There we go. You can see them kind of off to the side. Again, I wish I remembered the names of the buildings, but I think you get the idea. They do look very cool, even not knowing the names. Okay, and then this last one, again, don't know what it is, looks like some kind of city. It takes 3 liters with the round side down on top of these buildings. Very, very cool looking. I'll just put 2 in for an idea there. Very cool. All right, so those are the developments. And again, I think this tray probably folds down and some of those cards sit in the back so that when you're playing, you'll remember the names, unlike me, who is trying to show the game without having reread the rulebook from when I backed this game 18 months ago or however long ago it was. Cool. Those are very cool looking. Let's look at the leader pieces in the other colors, though. They're pretty reminiscent of the ship colors we saw earlier, but they do look cool in all 5 colors, in my opinion. Okay, let's put those back in here. Let's push this development board up here just a little bit so it's out of the way. Okay, we looked at the transport ships. There are other ships as well. And I think here each player has 3 different ship models that will represent the other ships you can get in the game. This one kind of looks like the USS Enterprise. This one kind of looks like a giant pod racer. And this one kind of looks like a skinny X-Wing. I don't know, just relating everything to Star Wars. But those are cool. Again, in all 5 colors, I believe. Do I have 5 colors here? We got green, blue, yellow, purple, white. Yeah. And there should be 1 of each color. So those are cool. Okay. We have some wooden discs that you will keep track of your place on the different tracks, and then some thicker ones that will be used somewhere else that I don't, oh, it's probably a points marker, I would imagine, on the outside board track of the game to keep track of how many victory points you have. There are 5 of these very, very tiny little plastic pieces. I don't know what they'll be used for, but they are very cool looking with that kind of like marbled dual color vibe in there. I'm dropping a lot of stuff today. Can't tell I'm excited to look at this game. We looked at the steel. We looked at the space money. There are some green energy cubes. I believe you use these in order to activate your engine cards. Those square-shaped cards that are in the different types that you'll build alongside your kind of a player board as you build out your engine. There are red little round tokens. I don't know if they're used for damage, maybe. That's probably what they're used for, because you do have ships that can have more than 1 health. Let's see if I can get those back in this tiny bag. I did pretty well. Okay. Then we have dice, again in the 5 player colors. They look really cool. Again, marbled with that just swirly color. Really like those dice. They're smaller than I thought they would be, but that's probably nice because the dice trays that we'll get to in a minute from the all-in pledge are fairly small too. So these will fit in those just well, I imagine. All right, lots of dice for those battles. We looked at the ice. There are 2 big plastic pieces for keeping track of something on a couple different tracks, I imagine. It's like some kind of event or caution and a star of some kind. I think this, you can dictate if you want a short, regular, or long game by placing this on at different values on the point track, and when someone crosses it, that triggers the end of the game. So I think that's what that one is. All right, almost done here with the regular components. We've got 6 of these bigger dice. I'm guessing they're for the Raiders. Wow, those are cool looking. They're a little more translucent with their swirl. I hope that is coming through on the camera because those are cool. They're probably twice as big, maybe more than that, as the dice that each player has. Those are cool. Very big. All right. Other than that, I think we've got some faction cards to look at. And then we'll look at the stuff from the all-in pledge. There are tons of cards in the game, like I already kind of mentioned. There's the square cards, tactics cards, the edge deck are these here, and then you've got like the Raider deck as well. I think these are more. No, these look like they're edge. These are event, maybe. Anyways, lots of different cards. We're not going to take the time to look at every single card today. That would, I think, take a long time. Cool little perk here. You got a extra shop for Flamecraft as well, which is cool. I have Flamecraft. It's a much more simple and light game, but it's a pretty fun worker placement game. Yeah, and that does look really cool. Spacecraft. Huh. Yeah, really like that one. That's a cool idea. I forgot that was even happening. So I'm going to set that behind me by my copy of Flamecraft. All right, we've got this thick kind of board tray here for the scrapyard and the repair barge. When your ships are destroyed, they go to the scrapyard. Then this, I think, is the event deck that some of those cards will sit on. And then there will be a token, probably that one with that symbol that was big that we saw, that will go alongside the edge of the board. And once it hits here, I think a new tile comes out and a new event happens. So there are events that are happening in the game. You're building out your engine, you're fighting with the other players. Lots going on here. So last up, before we look at the all-in extras, let's take a peek at these faction tiles. So there are 3 here in a different sleeve. I'm guessing these are the ones from the Escalation expansion. You've got the Dracarian Flamekeepers, the Wolf Guardian Howlers. At the beginning of your turn, if you return to station, you may claim 1 moon of your choice from the discard pile. I'm just going to read their top bonus, not both. I think the top one is the more like unique one, if what I'm seeing here is true. For the Flamekeepers, that's at the end of your turn. If you built a development or gained any modules, gain 1 coin. Astrodracus, cool, like space dragon. Dragon Layers. When you launch, you may treat your developments as though they were ships for determining range, because there is like movement range in the game. So I think those are the 3 from Escalation. Then there is this sleeve here with a bunch more. We've got the Nebulon Cloud People. When you launch a ship to a nebula or a region adjacent to a nebula, gain 1 ice or 1 of that black resource, the space coal. I don't know what it is. Darkstar Acolytes. Ghostly Presence. At the beginning of your turn, if there are no ships in your launch bay, you may choose 1 unoccupied alliance base and perform its action. You may also recruit leaders from the chosen region, then return to station normally. Crawlin. They have a cool kind of bug-looking vibe. Hatch. When you build or gain a new ship, you may have it begin in any region containing your ships. Okay, here are the, let's see how many. We've got Captain Fierce. He's a level 1 Unity leader. Captain Sky is level 1. Captain Astorion is level 1. Major Havoc is level 2. Major Key is level 2. Major Tom, see what we did there, it's level 2. Commander Frakes is level 3. Commander Cushing is level 3. And Commander Olmos is level 3. And that should be all of the Unity solo sheets there. Okay, back to the player factions. Mecharon Synthborn. You may freely exchange that steel and energy for each other. That's cool. Zodian Warmongers. Once per turn, on your turn, you may discard 1 diplomacy card to draw 2 of that red card. I think they're tactics cards. Funganor Sporgots. At the beginning of your turn, if any ships are in the scrapyard, gain 1 space coal. I really like the art on them. Arcanoan Shipwrights. When you build or gain a new ship, you may have it begin in the repair barge instead of your launch bay. Elders of Dwellinon. At the beginning of the game, draw 3 civilization modules from the deck and keep them secret. Each time you build a development, you may add 1 of these modules to your station. Pulse War Refugees. At the beginning of your turn, if you have fewer than 3 of those red tactics cards, draw one. Plutonian Empire, Doomsday Clock. At the beginning of your turn, advance the Doomsday Clock 1 space. Then you may spend 1 resource to advance it 1 additional space. Each time the clock marker reaches midnight, advance 3 spaces on 1 progress track of your choice. So you're trying to move it there all the way to 12 on your little clock here so that you can move up those tracks. The Tolzid Porters. When you launch to an alliance base, you may spend 1 money or any 2 resources to advance 1 space on the commerce track. Weldon Forge Folk. When you complete a column of modules, you may pay any 2 resources to draw 1 module from any module deck to add it to your station. Celluloid Technoblorps. As long as you have 3 or fewer damaged modules, you may treat them as though they were undamaged. Allied Tribes. Once per turn, on your turn, you may choose one of your leaders on the board and move it to an adjacent region. Space Pirates of Nightmare Cove. When you launch to an occupied region, gain 1 money. Cool art on that one too. Nebulon Cloud People. I think I read that one. Are we back? Yeah, we're back to the beginning. Nebulon Cloud People was the first one. All right, so lots of factions and Unity boards there. We'll add the 3 from that separate sleeve to it as well. Okay, I think we've looked at basically everything other than like the cards, and I think for a lot of the strategy and that kind of thing, you can figure that out when you look at your copy of the game probably. But last up, we're just going to look really briefly at what came also in the box from the all-in pledge. Pretty simple here, actually. We've got sleeves for all of the cards in the game, so that's kind of cool. We've got some coasters. Yeah, these are coasters with Cardboard Alchemy's logo on one side and some art from the game on the other. I don't think they're, maybe there's some kind of cork, but they just feel like thick cardboard to me. Cool. And then there is a dice tray for each of the 5 players in the game, showing different artwork. Got this one here. This one shows that kind of hive enemy. This one, I really like that, the way that enemy raider looked. I don't remember its name, obviously. Ooh, that's a cool one too, though. The brain. And then that one is creepy with the space kraken. Then we're back to this one. Let's fold one up and just see how the dice roll in there. All right. Definitely tight snaps, which is probably a good thing. And like I said earlier, they're pretty small dice trays, but I think that's fine because if I dump all the dice out here, we've got the green player rolling 6 dice. The dice are pretty small too, so I think that works pretty well, actually. So you've got all of those right in there. Okay, last couple things from the add-on are replacements for the cardboard versions of these different tokens. So I'm going to open these up and just take a look at some of them. They are wooden with printing on both sides, it would appear. One side is like the face down side, I think. And then the other side is the reward that you get from that moon. Very cool looking. Some of them are stuck together a little bit, so hopefully those will peel apart okay. It looks like they did just fine, so that's pretty common with wooden pieces, to be honest. So those look pretty cool. Look at those a little bit more later. And then replacements for some of the, what are those, octagon-shaped pieces in the game as well. That I don't remember exactly what they are for, but again, they look really nice being wooden here. Looks like that one would give you 1 of any resource probably, or 1 of each. Cool. I do like premium components, but I don't often splurge on them. But this was one of those games where I definitely did. But anyways, that was a very long video. I think we're going to call it here. Thanks so much for watching this unboxing of Andromeda's Edge, the Deluxe All-In Edition that just delivered to me today. Make sure to check out the rest of the content I have here on the channel. I do other unboxings, reviews, and playthroughs. I also have a weekly gaming podcast and a monthly giveaway, so make sure to check those out as well in the description below, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.